Korean Mafia boss, went in for a serious medical checkup and found his black ex was his doctor. Lee Ji-woon did not do doctors. He did not do weakness. And he definitely did not do feelings. But when you are the head of Seoul's most powerful crime syndicate, and you start passing out during business meetings, you do not have much choice. So there he was, sitting on an examination table in the most expensive private hospital in Gangnam, waiting for some doctor he could probably buy with the cash in his wallet, planning exactly how he would threaten them into signing whatever certificate he needed. The door opened, and every plan he had ever made fell apart. Because standing there, white coat crisp, stethoscope around her neck, tablet in hand, and absolutely zero surprise on her face, was Dr. Amivi Lawson. His Amivi. Except she wasn't his. Had not been for 10 years. Not since the night he walked out of her life without explanation, without goodbye, without anything except the cowardice of silence. She had every reason to refuse to treat him, to throw him out, to make him suffer the way he made her suffer. Instead, she stepped into the room, closed the door, and said in perfect clinical Korean, "Mr. Lee, please remove your shirt. We are behind schedule." No emotion, no recognition beyond the factual, just a doctor and her patient. And when he tried to use his name, his reputation, his power to intimidate her, she did something no one had done in a decade. She looked him straight in the eye and refused. Refused to be bought. Refused to be threatened. Refused to sign false reports just because he was used to getting his way. "I took an oath," she said simply. "I will not break it. Not for you. Not for anyone." And right then, in that sterile exam room with 10 years of history between them, Lee Ji-woon realized something terrifying. He was not the one in control anymore. She was. The room smelled like imported cigars and old money. Lee Ji-woon sat at the head of the table, his fingers drumming once against the dark wood. Across from him, 3 men from the Chinese triad waited. They had flown in from Shanghai for this meeting, and everyone in the room knew what was at stake. "The port's in Busan," Ji-woon said, his voice flat. "You get Thursday and Friday. My people keep the rest of the week." The oldest of the 3 men, Zhang Wei, smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "We were thinking more like a 60-40 split." "You were thinking wrong." The tension in the room could cut steel. Ji-woon's second in command, Min Tae-sung, shifted slightly to his left. 2 bodyguards stood near the door. Everything was going exactly as planned. Then Ji-woon's vision blurred, just for a second, just at the edges. He blinked hard, focused on Zhang Wei's face, but the blur was spreading, like ink in water. His chest felt tight. The voices in the room started to sound far away, like he was underwater. No, not now. He gripped the edge of the table. His knuckles went white. Zhang Wei was still talking, but Ji-woon could not hear the words anymore. Just a ringing sound, high-pitched and sharp. Then nothing. When Ji-woon opened his eyes again, he was on the floor. Tae-sung was crouched next to him, phone in hand, speaking rapid Korean to someone. The Chinese men were standing now, looking down at him with expressions that mixed concern with opportunity. "How long?" Ji-woon's voice came out rough. 4 minutes, Tae-sung said quietly. "Maybe 5. 5 minutes. In their world, 5 minutes of weakness was a death sentence. Zhang Wei picked up his coat. "We will reschedule," he said in Mandarin, "when you are feeling better." The meeting was over. The deal was dead. And worse than that, everyone in the room now knew that the isotope, the man who never cracked, had just shattered in front of them. Tae-sung helped Ji-woon to his feet after the Chinese delegation left. "That is the 3rd time this month." "I know. You need to see someone." "I'm fine." "You passed out during a negotiation with the Shanghai triad." "Well, you are not fine." Tae-sung's voice was hard. They had known each other for 15 years. He was the only person alive who could speak to Ji-woon like this. If this gets out, every crew from Busan to Seoul will think you are weak. You know what happens then. Ji-woon did know. In his line of work, perception was everything. The moment people thought you were slipping, they came for you. All of them, like sharks smelling blood. Set up an appointment, Ji-woon said finally. Somewhere private. I do not want this in any records. Tae-sung nodded. I know a place. Hansung Private Hospital. They handle sensitive cases. Politicians, celebrities, people who need discretion. Do it. 3 days later, Ji-woon found himself in the back of a black sedan, heading to the hospital. He hated doctors, hated the sterile smell, not the patronizing voices, the way they acted like they knew your body better than you did. But Tae-sung was right. These blackouts were becoming a problem he could not ignore. The hospital was in Gangnam, tucked away behind high walls and older trees. Money whispered in every corner of the building. The lobby was quiet. The staff moved like ghosts. A woman in a neat uniform led him to a private elevator that required a key card to operate. You will be on the 7th floor, she said. VIP wing. Dr. Lawson will see you shortly. The elevator doors closed. Ji-woon leaned against the mirrored wall and closed his eyes. Just get the tests done. Get the certification that you are fine, and get out. Simple. The 7th floor was even quieter than the lobby. His footsteps made no sound on the thick carpet. A nurse, older and sharp-eyed, met him at the reception desk. Mr. Lee, room 3. The doctor will be with you in a moment. Room 3 was exactly what he expected. Examination table, blood pressure machine, a desk with a computer. Everything was white and chrome and cold. He sat on the edge of the table and waited. The door opened, and time did something strange. Because standing in the doorway, holding a tablet and wearing a white coat with her name embroidered on the pocket, was Amivi Lawson. His Amivi, except she wasn't his anymore. Hadn't been for 10 years. She looked up from the tablet. Their eyes met. For exactly 3 seconds, neither of them moved. Ji-woon felt his pulse spike. His mouth went dry. Every prepared sentence in his head vanished. Amivi's expression did not change, not even a flicker. She looked back down at the tablet. I scrolled through something, then stepped fully into the room and closed the door behind her. Mr. Lee, she said in perfect Korean, her accent barely noticeable. I see you have been experiencing syncopal episodes. When did they start? Her voice was calm, professional, like she was reading the weather report. Ji-woon stared at her. She had cut her hair. It was shorter now, curled tight against her head. She looked tired. There were shadows under her eyes, but she was still, unmistakably, the same woman he had left 10 years ago without a word. When did they start? She repeated, looking up at him. Amivi. Dr. Lawson, she corrected. We are in a hospital, Mr. Lee. I am your physician. You are my patient. Let me ask again. When did the blackout start? He had run entire gangs, had stared down men twice his size who wanted him dead, had negotiated deals worth millions of dollars. But sitting on this examination table, looking at Amivi's carefully blank face, he felt like he was 22 again and drowning. 2 months ago, he managed. She made a note on the tablet. Frequency: 3 times. Duration: 4 to 5 minutes each. Any warning signs before they happen? Nausea, dizziness, chest pain. My vision blurs. Another note. She set the tablet down on the desk and turned to face him fully. I am going to need you to remove your jacket and shirt. I need to check your heart and lungs. He did not move. Her eyebrow went up, just slightly. Mr. Lee, I have 16 other patients to see today. If you are uncomfortable with me as your doctor, I can refer you to a colleague. No, the word came out too fast. No, I will stay. Before you keep scrolling, do me a favor. If you are already hooked and want to see what happens next, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, this story is just getting started. and you do not want to miss what comes next." Ji-woon shrugged off his jacket, unbuttoned his shirt. The whole time, Amevi watched him with the same detached, clinical expression. When he was done, she stepped forward with a stethoscope. "Breathe normally," she said. The cold metal pressed against his chest. He could smell her perfume, something light and citrus. It was different from what she used to wear. Everything about her was different. Sharper. More guarded. She moved the stethoscope to different positions, listening. Her face was inches from his. He remembered, and suddenly and vividly, what it felt like to kiss her. The memory hit him so hard he almost forgot to breathe. "Breathe," she reminded him, not looking up. He did. After a minute, she stepped back. "Heart sounds normal. Lungs are clear. I'm going to take your blood pressure now." The cuff tightened around his arm. She watched the numbers on the monitor. "Elevated," she said. "But that could be situational stress." "Could be," he agreed. She removed the cuff, stepped back to the desk, made more notes. The silence stretched between them like a canyon. "I am going to order a full panel," Amevi said, still not looking at him. "Neurological exam, cardiac workup, blood tests. Given your symptoms, we need to rule out seizure disorders, arrhythmias, structural heart problems." "And if all those come back normal?" Now she looked at him. Her eyes were exactly as he remembered, dark and deep and impossible to read. "Then we look at other causes, such as psychogenic syncope, your body shutting down in response to psychological stress." "You think I am crazy?" "I think," Amevi said slowly, "that the brain is an organ like any other, and sometimes it malfunctions. That is not crazy. That is biology." She handed him a paper gown. "Put this on. Someone will come to take you for an MRI in 15 minutes. She was halfway to the door when he spoke. "Amevi." She stopped, did not turn around. "Dr. Lawson, how long have you been in Seoul?" 7 years. 7 years. She'd been in the same city as him for 7 years, and he had no idea. Seoul was huge, yes, but still. 7 years. "Why did you come back?" Now she did turn. Her expression was still carefully neutral. "I did not come back, Mr. Lee. I moved forward. There is a difference. Now put on the gown. We are already behind schedule." The door closed behind her. Ji-woon sat alone in the examination room, holding the paper gown, feeling like he had just been hit by a truck. The tests took 3 hours. MRI, EEG, echocardiogram, enough blood drawn to fill a small bottle. Through all of it, Amevi did not reappear. Other technicians handled him, polite and efficient. By the time he was back in the examination room, still in the paper gown, it was early evening. There was a knock. The door opened. Amevi came in with a thicker tablet this time, probably his results. "Everything came back normal," she said without preamble. "No structural abnormalities in your brain, no seizure activity. Your heart is fine, and blood work is clean. So I am healthy. Physically, yes." She sat down in the chair across from him, crossed her legs. For the first time since she walked into the room hours ago, she looked at him like he was not just another patient. "Mr. Lee, I am going to be direct with you. Based on these results and your described symptoms, my professional opinion is that you are experiencing conversion disorder. Your body is manifesting physical symptoms in response to unprocessed psychological trauma. That is not possible." "Why not?" "Because I don't have trauma." Amevi's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Everyone has trauma, Mr. Lee. Some people just bury it deeper." "You don't know what you are talking about." "I am the head of hematology at this hospital," she said, and there was an edge in her voice now. "So I graduated top of my class from Yonsei Medical School. Before that, I did my undergraduate work in cellular biology. I have published 23 papers in peer-reviewed journals. So when I tell you what I think is wrong with you, I am not guessing. I am diagnosing. The room went very quiet. Ji-woon leaned forward. I came here for a medical certificate, something I can show to my associates to prove I am fit. Can you provide that? Or not? Not. Excuse me? I do not sign false reports, Mr. Lee. You asked for my medical opinion. I gave it to you. You are experiencing psychogenic syncope. Until we address the root cause, the blackouts will continue. I cannot, in good conscience, certify you as fit for high-stress responsibilities. Rage flared in his chest, hot and immediate. Do you have any idea who I am? Yes, Amivi said calmly. You are Lee Ji-woon. You run organized crime operations through half of Seoul. You launder money through at least 4 legitimate businesses that I know of. You are dangerous, well-connected, and used to getting your way. She stood up. But in this hospital, in this wing, I am the authority. And I don't care how many people are afraid of you. I took an oath. I will not break it. He stood too. They were facing each other now, close enough that he could see the pulse jumping in her throat. She was not as calm as she pretended to be. You are making a mistake, he said quietly. Am I? People who get in my way tend to regret it. Is that a threat, Mr. Lee? It is a fact. Amivi tilted her head slightly, studying him. You know what I think? I think you came in here expecting to intimidate some old doctor into signing whatever you wanted. I think you are used to buying your way out of problems, and I think you are scared, because this is one problem you cannot solve with money or violence. You do not know anything about me. I know enough. They stared at each other. The air between them felt electric, charged with 10 years of unsaid things. Finally, Amivi stepped back. I am recommending a 3-day observation period. You will stay in the VIP wing. I will monitor you personally. If we can identify and address the triggers for your blackouts, I will sign your fitness report. If not, you are free to seek a second opinion elsewhere. I am not staying here for 3 days. Then I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Lee. She moved toward the door. Wait. She paused. 3 days. That is all? That is all. And you will sign the report if I cooperate? If the treatment is successful, yes. He looked at her. Really looked. Tried to find any trace of the woman he used to know. The one who laughed at his terrible jokes. Who fell asleep on his shoulder during late-night study sessions. Who told him she loved him in 3 different languages because one did not feel like enough. But that woman was gone. In her place stood Dr. Lawson. Polished, professional, untouchable. Fine, he said. 3 days. Something flickered in her eyes. Surprise, maybe, or satisfaction. I will have the nurses prepare your room. Amivi, Dr. Lawson, why are you doing this? For a long moment she did not answer. Then she said very quietly, Because you are my patient, Mr. Lee, and I protect my patients, even from themselves. The room they gave him was nicer than his apartment. King-sized bed, leather couch, a view of the Han River. There was a television, a small fridge stocked with water and juice, even a coffee machine. Tae-sung arrived 20 minutes after Ji-woon was settled, carrying a bag of clothes and looking deeply unhappy. 3 days, he said. Boss, we have the meeting with the Daegu crew on Thursday. Reschedule it. The shipment from Hong Kong comes in on Friday. You handle it. Tae-sung set the bag down, looked at Ji-woon carefully. What is going on? I told you. Tests. Tests do not take 3 days. These ones do. Boss. Ji-woon turned away from the window. Drop it, Tae-sung. Is this about the doctor? When Ji-woon did not answer, Tae-sung's eyes widened slightly. You know her. How do you know her? We went to university together. Just university. The look Ji-woon gave him could freeze fire. Tae-sung held up his hands. All right. All right. I will handle things while you are here. But if you need anything at all, you call me. After Tae-sung left, Ji-woon lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling. His mind was racing. Of all the hospitals in Seoul, of all the doctors Tai-sung could have found, it had to be her. 10 years ago, he had walked away without explanation. It was the only thing he could do. His father had just been killed in a territorial dispute. Ji-woon inherited everything: the business, the enemies, the empire built on blood and fear. He could not drag Mafia into that world. So he left, changed his number, disappeared. He told himself it was for her protection. Now, looking back, he wondered if he was just a coward. There was a knock on the door. Before he could answer, it opened. Mafia came in carrying the same tablet. She had changed her coat. This one looked newer. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Like a prisoner? You are free to leave any time." "Am I?" She almost smiled. "The doors are not locked, Mr. Lee. This is a hospital, not a jail." Could have fooled me. She sat down in the chair near the window, crossed her legs again. It was a habit, he remembered. She always sat like that when she was settling in for a long conversation. "I want to try something," Mafia said. "It is called exposure therapy. We identify the triggers that cause your blackouts, and we address them in a controlled environment." That sounds terrible. It is effective. How effective? 70 to 80% success rate in patients with conversion disorder. Ji-woon sat up. And the other 20 to 30%? Learn to manage their symptoms. She tilted her head. "Are you afraid, Mr. Lee?" "Of what?" "Of finding out what is really wrong with you." He laughed. It was not a kind sound. "You think you can psychoanalyze me after one afternoon?" "No," Mafia said. "But I knew you for 3 years before you vanished. That gives me a head start." The words hung between them, heavy, pointed. "You are angry," Ji-woon said. "I am a professional." "You are angry." Mafia was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. "What I am is irrelevant. You came here for help, so I am offering it. Do you want it or not?" He studied her. "What do you get out of this? What do you mean? You could have referred me to someone else. You said so yourself. But you chose to take my case. Why?" "Because I am good at my job." That is not an answer. "It is the only one you are getting tonight." She stood. "We will start tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. I suggest you get some rest." She was at the door when he spoke again. "I looked for you," he said. "After. I looked for you." Amavi's hand paused on the door handle. "No, you did not." "I did. You were gone. Your apartment was empty. Your phone was disconnected. You left no forwarding information." "Yes," she said without turning around. "I learned from the best." Then she was gone, and Ji-woon was alone again. He did not sleep well that night, and every time he closed his eyes he saw her face, young and open and laughing, then older and closed and clinical. The distance between those two versions of her felt impossible to cross. At 8 a.m. exactly, there was a knock. Mafia entered with coffee, 2 cups. She handed one to him. "Cream, no sugar," she said, "unless you changed." I did not. Some things stay the same then. They sat across from each other. The coffee was good, strong and hot. "Tell me about the first blackout," Mafia said. "Where were you? What were you doing?" "Meeting with suppliers." "What kind of suppliers?" "The kind I cannot discuss with my doctor." She gave him a look. "Mr. Lee, I grew up in Lomé. I know what organized crime looks like. You are not shocking me. Now answer the question properly." "We were discussing territory. There was a disagreement about who controlled which ports. Were you threatened?" "Not directly." "But you felt unsafe?" He thought about it. "No." "Then what did you feel?" "Annoyed." Mafia made a note. "What happened right before your vision blurred?" "One of the men insulted my leadership." "How?" "He said I was too young, that I did not have the experience my father had." Ji-woon paused. "He said I was filling shoes too big for me." And that bothered you. It was disrespectful. That is not what I asked. Ji-woon set his coffee down. What do you want me to say? The truth. I just told you the truth. You told me facts, Amivi corrected. I want to know how it made you feel. I do not see how that matters. It matters because your body is shutting down in response to emotional stimuli. And if we do not identify what those emotions are, we cannot treat the problem. They looked at each other. Ji-woon felt cornered. He hated it. It made me angry, he said finally. Why? Because he was right. The words came out before he could stop them. Amivi's expression did not change, but she leaned forward slightly. Listening. I was 25 when I took over, Ji-woon continued. My father built his empire over 40 years, and everyone expected me to just step into his role like it was nothing. But I did not know what I was doing. I was terrified every single day that someone would figure it out. But they did not. No. I learned fast. I had to. At what cost? He looked away. Out the window. The city stretched below them, vast and indifferent. Everything. Amivi was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was gentle. Do you think that is what triggers the blackouts? The fear that you are not enough? I am enough. Are you? I have held my position for 10 years. My crew is loyal. My enemies are dead, or too afraid to move against me. I am enough. Then why do you keep passing out? The question hit like a punch. Ji-woon did not have an answer. Amivi stood. That is enough for today. Same time tomorrow. Wait, that is it? Did you want to continue? Honestly, no. His chest felt tight. His hands were shaking slightly. He wanted her to leave so he could breathe again. No, he admitted. Then we are done. She moved to the door. Oh, and Mr. Lee? What? You did well today. The door closed. Ji-woon sat in the sudden silence, feeling like he had just run a marathon. His coffee had gone cold. He drank it anyway. The rest of the day passed slowly. Nurses came to check his vitals. Lunch was delivered. Some kind of soup and rice. He ate without tasting it. Tae-sung called twice with updates. Everything was running smoothly without him. Somehow, that made him feel worse. At 6 p.m., there was another knock. Ji-woon expected Amivi. Instead, it was a different woman. Younger, probably a resident. Dr. Lawson asked me to check on you, she said in accented English. How are you feeling? Fine. Any dizziness? Blurred vision? No. She made notes, checked his blood pressure. Everything was normal. She left. Ji-woon felt irrationally disappointed. That night, he could not sleep again. At 2 a.m., he gave up and went for a walk. The VIP wing was quiet. A nurse at the station looked up but did not stop him. He wandered down the hall and past other closed doors until he reached a small lounge area. And there, sitting on a couch with a laptop, was Amivi. She looked up when he entered. Cannot sleep. You either, apparently. I'm working. At 2 in the morning? Medicine does not follow business hours, Mr. Lee. But she closed the laptop, gestured to the chair across from her. Sit, if you want. He did. They sat in silence for a moment. Outside the windows, Seoul glittered. Why did you really come back? Ji-woon asked. I told you. I did not come back. I moved forward. To Seoul specifically. Why Seoul? Amivi was quiet. Then she said, because I needed to prove something. What? That I could succeed anywhere, on my own terms, without help, without connections, just my skill and my work. She looked at him. I left Togo with 2 suitcases and a scholarship. Do you know how hard it is to be a black woman in Korean medicine? Every single day, someone assumes I am less qualified. Every single day, I have to be twice as good just to be seen as equal. So I became 3 times as good. And now, I run this department. There was pride in her voice, fierce and earned. You did not need to prove anything, Ji-woon said quietly. Yes, I did. To them. To myself. She paused. Maybe to you. To me? You left because you thought I could not handle your world, like I was fragile, something to be protected. I left to keep you safe. You left because you were scared, Amivi shot back. Not of your enemies. Of me. Of what it would mean to let me choose. That is not true. Is it not? She leaned forward. You made a decision for both of us. Ji-woon, you decided I was better off without you. Did it ever occur to you to ask what I wanted? He had no answer for that. Amivi stood. I should get back to work. Amivi. She stopped. I am sorry, he said. For what it is worth. I am sorry. She looked at him for a long moment. Her expression was unreadable. Apologies do not change the past. I know. But I appreciate the sentiment. She picked up her laptop. Good night, Mr. Lee. Good night. He sat alone in the lounge for a long time after she left, watching the city lights, thinking about choices and consequences, and all the things he could not take back. Morning came too fast. Ji-woon woke to sunlight streaming through the windows and another knock on his door. A nurse brought breakfast. Eggs, toast, fruit. He was not hungry, but ate anyway. At 8 a.m. sharp, Amivi arrived. She looked different today. Tired. Like maybe she had not slept much either. Good morning, she said, settling into her usual chair. How are you feeling? Like I am in prison. You said that yesterday. It is still true today. She almost smiled. We are going to try something different today. I want to talk about your father. Every muscle in Ji-woon's body went tense. No, Mr. Lee. I said no. Your father's death is clearly a significant event in your life. It coincides with when you took over the organization when you left university, when you disappeared from your previous life entirely. We cannot ignore it. Watch me. Amivi set her tablet down, looked at him directly. What are you afraid will happen if you talk about him? I'm not afraid. Then talk. There is nothing to say. There is always something to say. They stared at each other. Ji-woon's heart was racing. He could feel it, the edge of something dark and deep, the same feeling he got right before a blackout. My vision is blurring, he said. Amivi leaned forward immediately. Look at me. Focus on my voice. Breathe in for 4 counts. He did. Hold for 4. He held. Out for 4. He exhaled slowly. Again. They did this 5 more times. Gradually, his vision cleared. His heartbeat slowed. The panic receded. Better? Amivi asked. Yes. That was a panic response. Your body is preparing to shut down. She made notes. The mention of your father triggered it, which means we are getting close to the source. I do not want to get close to the source. I know, but we have to. Ji-woon stood up, paced to the window. He needed space, needed air. The room suddenly felt too small. He was killed in front of me, he said, the words coming out flat. Rival gang. They walked into our house during dinner and shot him 3 times. Once in the chest, twice in the head. I was sitting right there. Amivi did not say anything, just listened. I was 25. I had been studying business at university. I had plans. I was going to work in a legitimate enterprise, maybe consulting. My father knew. He supported it. He never wanted me in his world. But you ended up there anyway. I had no choice. His organization needed a leader. If I did not step up, there would have been a war. Dozens of people would have died fighting for control. He turned from the window. So I stepped up. I buried my father, and I took his place. And I have been there ever since. And you never grieved him. I did not have time to grieve. I had an empire to run. So you buried the grief along with him, Amivi said quietly. And now it is coming back up. Ji-woon felt something crack inside his chest. Not painful. More like ice breaking. I do not know how to grieve for him. I only know how to be him. You are not him. I have to be. That is the only way this works. No. Amivi stood now, too. Walked over to where he stood. You became a version of what you thought he was. But people are not their roles, Ji-woon. You are not just a crime boss. You are a man who lost his father violently, who had his entire life derailed in one night, who never got to say goodbye. Something in her voice made him look at her. Really look. You understand? My mother died when I was 19, Amivi said. Malaria. Preventable. Treatable. But we could not afford the right medicine in time. She wrapped her arms around herself. I became a doctor because of her. Every patient I save is me saving her. Except I cannot save her. She is gone. And some days, that makes the work feel pointless. But you keep doing it. Because grief does not mean giving up. It means carrying the weight and moving forward anyway. They stood there, close enough to touch, but not touching. The air between them felt different, less hostile, more honest. I do not know how to carry it, Ji-woon admitted. I know, Amivi said. Fine, that is why you are here. The door burst open. Both of them turned. Tae-sung stood there, breathing hard. His face was pale. Boss, we have a problem. Ji-woon's entire demeanor changed in an instant. Shoulders back, expression cold. The vulnerable man from a moment ago vanished. What kind of problem? The Baek clan. They hit one of our warehouses in Incheon. Took everything. How much? 40 million won worth of product. Ji-woon swore under his breath. The Baek clan had been quiet for months. This was a deliberate provocation. Casualties. 3 of our guys. Hospitalized but stable. Tell Min Seo to call a meeting. I want everyone at the office in 2 hours. Boss, you were supposed to stay here. That was before we got hit. I am leaving. Minister Lee, Amivi's voice cut through the tension. You are not discharged. I do not care. If you leave now, against medical advice, I cannot help you. Ji-woon turned to her. His face was a mask. Then I guess you cannot help me. He started for the door. Amivi moved faster. She stepped directly into his path. For a small woman, she could be surprisingly immovable. Get out of my way. No. Amivi. Dr. Lawson, she corrected. And no. You came here because you are having blackouts. Blackouts happen when you are under stress. You are about to walk into an incredibly stressful situation. What do you think will happen? I will handle it. You will pass out in front of your entire organization. And then what? You think they will follow a leader who collapses during a crisis? That landed. Ji-woon's jaw tightened. 2 hours, Amivi said. Give me 2 hours. Let Tae-sung handle the meeting. You stay here. We work on management techniques. Then tonight, when you are calmer, you can address your people from a position of strength instead of panic. I am not panicking. Your heart rate is elevated. Your breathing is shallow. Your pupils are dilated. You are absolutely panicking. Tae-sung cleared his throat. Boss, she might have a point. Ji-woon shot him a look that could kill. But Tae-sung had been with him long enough to be immune. If you black out during the meeting, the Baek clan wins. They look strong. We look weak. Better to wait. Come in later when you have a plan. It was sound logic. Ji-woon hated that it was sound logic. Fine, he bit out. 2 hours. Then I am leaving. Amivi nodded. Tae-sung, give us the room, please. Tae-sung left, though he looked reluctant about it. The door closed. Immediately, Amivi turned to Ji-woon. Sit down. I do not want to sit. Sit anyway. He sat. She pulled her chair directly in front of him, close. Their knees were almost touching. We are going to do a grounding exercise. It will help with the panic. Focus on me. I am not panicking. Ji-woon. Her voice was softer now. Focus on me. He did. Looked into her eyes. Dark brown. Steady. Name 5 things you can see. What? 5 things. In this room. Name them. He wanted to argue, but something in her expression stopped him. The window, the bed, your coat, the IV stand, the clock. Good. 4 things you can touch. He reached out without thinking, touched the armrest of his chair. The chair. The table. He hesitated, then reached for her hand. She let him. Your hand, his voice rougher now. My watch. 3 things you can hear. He listened. The ventilation system, voices in the hallway, your breathing. 2 things you can smell. Antiseptic, your perfume. 1 thing you can taste. Coffee, from this morning. Amivi squeezed his hand. How do you feel? Calmer. Your heart rate. He checked internally. Slower. Good. That is a technique you can use anywhere. Anytime you feel a blackout coming, you ground yourself. Bring yourself back to the present moment. That simple? That's simple. He looked down at their joined hands. She noticed at the same moment he did. She pulled back slowly, professional distance reasserting itself. You should call Tai Sung, or tell him what you want done at the meeting. You want me to run my organization from a hospital room? I want you to stay conscious. However you accomplish that is up to you. Ji-woon pulled out his phone, called Tai Sung, gave precise instructions. Tai Sung would handle the meeting. They would not retaliate immediately. First, they would gather intelligence, find out why the Beck clan moved now, what they wanted. When he hung up, Amivi was watching him. What? He asked. You're good at this. Leading. I have had practice. Your father would be proud. Something twisted in his chest. Not painful. Something else. You think so? I met him once. Do you remember? Ji-woon blinked. You did? You brought me to that restaurant in Hongdae, the one with the private rooms. He was there with some associates. You introduced me as your study partner. The memory surfaced. Hazy, but there. His father shaking Amivi's hand, smiling at her, asking about her studies. I remember. He told me to take care of you, said you worked too hard and forgot to eat. Amivi's expression softened. He loved you. That was obvious. I know. Do you? Because you are living like you have something to prove to a dead man. The words hit hard. True and brutal. Maybe I do, Ji-woon said. Then prove it by surviving, by being more than just his legacy. Before he could respond, his phone rang. Tai Sung again. Meeting is done, Tai Sung said. Everyone is on board with the wait-and-see approach. Min-seo is already reaching out to contacts in the Beck organization. We should know more by tonight. Good. Keep me updated. He hung up. Looked at Amivi. The crisis managed. Happy? I will be happy when you make it through a full week without passing out. Your standards are low. My standards are realistic. A nurse knocked and entered with lunch, some kind of stew and rice. She set it on the table and left. Amivi stood to go. Stay, Ji-woon said. I have other patients. Stay anyway. She hesitated, then sat back down. 10 minutes. They ate in companionable silence. It reminded him of university, all those late nights in the library, studying until the words blurred. Amivi bringing him food because she knew he would forget. Do you ever miss it? He asked. University. How simple things were. Things were not simple. We were just naive enough to think they were. Maybe. I do miss it, though, Amivi admitted. Sometimes. The version of me that existed then. She had not seen as much, had not lost as much. Do you regret coming to Seoul? No. Do you regret staying? I did not have a choice. Everyone has a choice, Ji-woon. Some choices just have worse consequences than others. They finished eating. Amivi stood for real this time. I will check on you tonight. Try to rest. Amivi. Yes? Thank you. For earlier. For stopping me from leaving. That is my job. No. Your job is to treat my symptoms. What you did was more than that. She looked at him for a long moment. Maybe some patients require more than just treatment. Then she was gone. The rest of the day passed in a blur of phone calls and updates. By evening, Mincio had news. The Beck clan was not acting alone. They had backing from someone bigger, possibly international. This was not just a territory dispute. This was a coordinated attack. Ji-woon sat in his hospital room, staring at his phone, doing the mental calculations. If the Beck clan had international support, they had resources. Lots of them. This could turn into a war. His vision started to blur. No, not now. He put the phone down. Focused. 5 things he could see. 4 things he could touch. 3 things he could hear. 2 things he could smell. 1 thing he could taste. The blurring stopped. He sat back, surprised. It actually worked. There was a knock. He expected a Mafia. Instead, it was a different doctor. Older man. White coat, expensive watch. Mr. Lee, I am Dr. Kang. I run the cardiology department. I already have a doctor. Yes, Dr. Lawson, I am aware. He closed the door behind him. Well, I'm actually here on behalf of some mutual acquaintances. Every instinct, Ji-woon had screamed danger. What acquaintances? The Beck family. They asked me to pass along a message. Ji-woon stood slowly. You are working for them. Working is a strong word. They made a very generous donation to my research fund. In exchange, I agreed to deliver a message. What message? Dr. Kang pulled out a folder, handed it to Ji-woon. Inside were medical documents. His medical documents. Test results. Diagnoses. Everything a Mafia had written about his condition. They know you are sick, Dr. Kang said. They know about the blackouts. They are prepared to go public with this information unless you step down voluntarily. Rage flooded through Ji-woon, cold and sharp. How did you get these? Does it matter? What matters is what happens next. Aisha, you have 48 hours to announce your retirement. If you do not, these documents go to every major crew from Seoul to Busan. Your reputation will be destroyed. Your organization will fracture, and the Beck family will pick up the pieces. Get out. Mr. Lee, get out before I throw you out. Dr. Kang set a business card on the table. When you are ready to be reasonable, call that number. He left. Ji-woon stood there, shaking with fury. They had his medical records, private, confidential records. Someone in this hospital had sold him out. He grabbed his phone, called Tae-sung. We have a leak. The Beck clan has my medical files. Tae-sung swore. How? A doctor just delivered them personally. Someone in this hospital is working for them. I will find out who. Do it fast. And Tae-sung, when you find them, I want to know. He hung up, paced the room. His heart was racing again, vision blurring. No. He forced himself through the grounding exercise. It helped. Barely. The door opened. A Mafia walked in, chart in hand. She took one look at his face and stopped. What happened? Someone leaked my files to the Beck clan. All the color drained from her face. What? A doctor just came in here. Dr. Kang. He had copies of everything. Test results. Your diagnosis. Everything. A Mafia set the chart down, pulled out her phone, made a call. Security. This is Dr. Lawson. I need you to detain Dr. Kang from cardiology immediately. No, right now. He has violated patient confidentiality. She paused. I do not care if he is on the board. Detain him. She hung up, turned to Ji-woon. I am so sorry. You did not do this. This is my hospital. In my department. It happened on my watch. Can you fix it? I can make sure Dr. Kang never practices medicine again. But the files are already out there. I cannot take that back. Ji-woon sat down heavily. They gave me 48 hours to step down. If I do not, they go public. What will you do? I do not know. A Mafia sat next to him, close. What do you want to do? Burn their entire organization to the ground. That is revenge. What do you actually want? He thought about it. Really thought. I want to keep what my father built. I want to protect my people. I want to prove that I am strong enough to lead. Then we have 48 hours to make sure you do not black out under pressure. He looked at her. We? You are still my patient, Mr. Lee, and I protect my patients. Her jaw set. Even from corrupt doctors and organized crime syndicates. Despite everything, he almost smiled. You are going to take on the Beck clan? I'm going to make sure you are healthy enough to take on the Beck clan yourself. There is a difference. All right, quick pause. If this story is giving you all the feelings, and you want to see how Ji-woon gets out of this mess, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you think Amivi should do next. Should she help him fight back, or keep things strictly professional? Let me know below. Security brought Dr. Kang to Amivi's office an hour later. Ji-woon insisted on being there. Amivi tried to argue but gave up quickly. Some battles were not worth fighting. Dr. Kang sat in the chair across from Amivi's desk, looking annoyed. This is ridiculous. You cannot just detain me. I can, when you violate HIPAA regulations and patient confidentiality, Amivi said, her voice ice cold. You accessed private medical files without authorization and shared them with a third party. That is grounds for immediate termination and legal action. I did no such thing. We have security footage of you entering Mr. Lee's room. We have testimony from Mr. Lee himself about what you said. And I am willing to bet if we check your computer, we will find evidence of you accessing his files. Dr. Kang's face went red. You have no proof. Then you will not mind if we check. Silence. Ji-woon watched the whole exchange with cold satisfaction. Amivi was terrifying when she wanted to be. The Beck family made you an offer, Ji-woon said quietly. Ton, how much? I do not know what you are talking about. How much did they pay you? Dr. Kang did not answer. Ji-woon leaned forward. Here is what is going to happen. You are going to tell me exactly who contacted you and how much they paid. In exchange, I will not kill you. You cannot threaten me. That was not a threat. That was a fact. Amivi held up a hand. Mr. Lee, please. Let me handle this. She turned back to Dr. Kang. You have two options. Option 1. You tell us everything. Who contacted you, what they paid, what they asked for. In exchange, we handle this internally. You lose your position here, but avoid criminal charges. Option 2. We call the police, you face prosecution, and your medical license is permanently revoked. She tilted her head. Choose. Dr. Kang looked between them, calculating. Finally, so he slumped. A man named Baek Min-jun contacted me 2 weeks ago. He knew I had gambling debts. He offered to clear them in exchange for information on any high-profile patients. And when Mr. Lee was admitted, you saw an opportunity. Yes. How much were your debts? 30 million won. Ji-woon made a disgusted sound. You sold me out for 30 million won? I had no choice. They were going to break my hands. I'm going to break more than your hands. Mr. Lee, Amivi's voice was sharp. Not helpful. She turned back to Dr. Kang. You are fired effective immediately. You will surrender your credentials and access cards. And if I ever see you in this hospital again, I will personally ensure you never work in medicine anywhere in this country. Do I make myself clear? Yes. Get out. Dr. Kang left. The moment the door closed, Amivi dropped her head into her hands. This is a disaster. This is not your fault, Ji-woon said. It feels like my fault. Amivi. He waited until she looked up. You handled that perfectly. You got the information we needed, and you protected the hospital. That is more than most people could do. The files are still out there. I know. But now I know how they got them, which means I can plan accordingly. Amivi studied him. What are you going to do? What I do best. Outmaneuver them. Without blacking out? Without blacking out, he confirmed. She almost smiled. You sound confident. I learned from a very stubborn doctor that confidence is half the battle. This time she did smile. Small but real. Go back to your room. Get some rest. Tomorrow we prepare. For what? For war. A medical war. I am going to teach you every stress management technique I know. By the time the Black Clan makes their move, you will be ready. Ji-woon stood, paused at the door. Why are you doing this? I told you. You are my patient. It is more than that. Amivi looked away. Maybe it is, or maybe I just really hate people who cheat the system. Dr. Kang broke every rule we have. The Black Clan is using your health against you. That is not a fair fight. You want to make it fair? I want to make sure you survive it. They looked at each other. Something passed between them. Understanding, maybe. Or the echo of what they used to be. Good night, Amivi. Good night, Ji-woon. He went back to his room, called Tai-sung, explained everything. Together they started building a counter-strategy. If the Black Clan wanted to play dirty, or they would play dirtier. The next morning, Amivi arrived at 7 a.m. She had a stack of papers and a determined expression. We are starting with breathing exercises, then progressive muscle relaxation, then cognitive behavioral techniques for managing intrusive thoughts. That sounds like torture. It is worse than torture. It is therapy. Now sit down and pay attention. They worked for 4 hours straight. Breathing patterns, muscle tension and release, identifying negative thought spirals and disrupting them. By the end, Ji-woon's head hurt, but he felt more in control than he had in months. How do you feel? Amivi asked. Like I just ran a marathon. Good. That means it is working. She checked her watch. I have surgery in an hour, but I will be back tonight. Practice the exercises. Yes, doctor. She gave him a look. Are you mocking me? Would I do that? Absolutely, you would. Despite the tension, despite everything, they both smiled. That night, Tae-sung arrived with news. We found the Black Clan's weak point. Tell me. They are moving a major shipment through Incheon tomorrow night. Drugs from Thailand. If we intercept it, we cut off their cash flow for months. How good is your intel? Solid. We have someone on the inside. Ji-woon thought about it. If we hit the shipment, they will retaliate. They are already retaliating. At least this way we hurt them back. Set it up. But I want minimal casualties. This is about the product, not the people. Understood. After Tae-sung left, Ji-woon sat in the quiet room and tried to process everything. Tomorrow night, his crew would move against the Black Clan. It was risky. Dangerous. If it went wrong, people could die. His vision started to blur. No, he caught it early this time. Went through the grounding exercise. 5 things. 4 things. 3, 2, 1. The blur faded. He was getting better at this. The door opened. Amivi came in, still in her scrubs. There was blood on her sleeve. She looked exhausted. Long surgery? He asked. Car accident victim. 32 years old. 3 children. She sat down heavily. We saved him. Barely. You look tired. I am tired. You should go home. I will. Soon. She looked at him. How are you doing? I practiced the exercises. They are helping. Good. She leaned her head back against the chair, closed her eyes. Sometimes I forget why I do this job. Then I save someone, and I remember. You are good at it. So are you. Leading. Huck, you just do not give yourself credit. I am a criminal, Amivi. I do not deserve credit. You employ over 100 people. You keep order in a chaotic system. You protect your territory. She opened her eyes. I am not saying what you do is legal, but it serves a function. And you do it well. Are you justifying organized crime? I am acknowledging reality. The world is not black and white. It is mostly gray. They sat in comfortable silence. Outside, the city hummed. I have to tell you something, Ji-woon said. "Tomorrow night, we are moving against the Baek clan, intercepting one of their shipments." Amivi sat up. "That is dangerous. I know. You could black out. I will not. You do not know that." "I will not," he repeated, firmer this time. "Because you taught me how to manage it. And because I do not have another choice." She looked worried, actually worried. "Ji-woon, I have to do this, Amivi. Not just for my organization. For me. I need to prove I am still capable. You have nothing to prove." "Yes, I do. To them. To myself. Maybe to my father's memory." Amivi was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "If you are going to do this, then I am going to make sure you are as prepared as possible. We have one more day. We use it. You do not have to do this." "Yes, I do." She stood. "Meet me here at 6 a.m. tomorrow. We are going to run through every scenario, every possible trigger. By the time you walk into that operation, you will be ready. Amivi." 6 a.m. Ji-woon. Do not be late." She left. Ji-woon sat alone, feeling something he had not felt in a long time. Hope. Dangerous, fragile hope. The next day was intense. Amivi drilled him relentlessly. Stress scenarios, surprise questions, anything that might trigger a blackout. Every time he felt his vision blur, he used the techniques, and every time they worked. By evening, he felt ready. "You are going to be fine," Amivi said. They were sitting in his room, the city darkening outside. "Just remember, breathe, ground yourself, stay present." "I will." "And Ji-woon?" She looked at him seriously. "Come back. I did not spend 3 days training you just to have you die in some warehouse. I will come back. Promise me." "I promise." Tae-sung arrived at 8 p.m. black car. Dark clothes. Everything was ready. Ji-woon changed quickly. When he came out, Amivi was still there. "Be safe," she said. "I will." He wanted to say more, wanted to thank her properly, wanted to tell her that these 3 days had changed something fundamental in him, but there was no time. "I will see you later," was all he said. "You better." He left, got in the car. As they drove away, he looked back once. Amivi was standing at the window, watching. He wondered if she was praying. He hoped she was. The warehouse in Incheon was dark and cold. Ji-woon's crew was already in position. 15 men. Armed. Waiting. The Baek clan shipment was due in 20 minutes. "Everyone knows the plan," Ji-woon said quietly. "We go in fast. We take the product. We leave. No unnecessary violence." His men nodded. They were good. Loyal. They trusted him. The trucks arrived exactly on time. 3 of them. The Baek clan's people started unloading. Ji-woon waited. Timing was everything. "Now," he said. They moved like shadows. Fast and coordinated. The Baek clan's people barely had time to react. There was shouting, some gunfire, but Ji-woon's crew had surprise on their side. In 12 minutes, it was over. The product was loaded into their trucks. The Baek clan's people were on the ground, alive but disarmed. "Move out," Ji-woon ordered. They were halfway to the vehicles when someone shouted, "Police!" Lights flooded the warehouse. Sirens wailed. The Baek clan had called the cops. This was a setup. "Run!" Ji-woon barked. Chaos erupted. His men scattered. Police poured in from every entrance. Ji-woon ran toward the back exit. Almost made it. Then someone tackled him from behind. He hit the ground hard. Vision exploded with stars. Hands yanked his arms behind his back. Handcuffs clicked shut. "Lee Ji-woon," a voice said above him, "for you are under arrest." He was pulled to his feet. Cops everywhere. Half his crew was already in custody. The trucks with the product were surrounded, and standing at the edge of the warehouse, watching with a satisfied smile, was Baek Min-jun himself. They had been played. The police station smelled like sweat and desperation. Ji-woon sat in an interrogation room, hands still cuffed. 2 detectives across from him. They had been asking questions for an hour. He had not said a single word. "You are looking at serious charges," the older detective said. "Theft, possession of illegal substances, assault. You want to cooperate. Now is the time." Ji-woon stared at the wall. "We know you run one of the biggest operations in Seoul. We have been watching you for years. This is our chance to put you away for good." Still nothing. The detective slammed his hand on the table. "Talk." "I want my lawyer," Ji-woon said calmly. "Your lawyer cannot help you. We caught you red-handed." "Then you have nothing to worry about. I want my lawyer." The detectives left. Ji-woon sat alone in the fluorescent light. His head was pounding. The tackle had bruised his ribs. But worse than the physical pain was the knowledge that he had walked straight into a trap. The Beck clan had outplayed him. His vision started to blur. No. Not here. Not now. He closed his eyes. 5 things he could see. Except he could not see anything with his eyes closed. So he switched tactics. 5 sounds. The hum of the lights, voices in the hallway, a phone ringing somewhere, traffic outside, his own breathing. 4 things he could touch. The cold metal of the cuffs, the hard plastic chair, the smooth table, his own knee. 3 things he could smell. Coffee, cleaning solution, sweat. 2 things he could taste. Blood from where he bit his tongue during the tackle. The metallic edge of fear. 1 thing he was grateful for. A Mafia teaching him these techniques. The blurring stopped. He opened his eyes. Still in the interrogation room. Still in handcuffs. But conscious. Small victories. The door opened. A lawyer walked in. Expensive suit. Calm demeanor. Park Young-hoon, one of the best criminal defense attorneys in Seoul. Tae-sung must have called him. "Mr. Lee," Park said, sitting down. "Do not say anything. I am handling this. They caught us at the warehouse. I know. But there are problems with their case. The warrant for the raid was issued based on an anonymous tip. We can argue entrapment. Also, none of the product has your fingerprints on it. They can place you at the scene, but they cannot prove you were in charge of the operation. What about my crew? Most of them are being processed now. I have lawyers for all of them. Nobody is talking. How long until I get out? Arraignment is tomorrow morning. I will argue for bail. Given your resources, the judge might set it high, but you will be out by tomorrow afternoon." The Beck clan set this up. I assumed as much, which is why we need to move carefully. They want you locked up or discredited. We cannot give them that satisfaction. Park left to file paperwork. Ji-woon was moved to a holding cell. It was late now, past midnight. He sat on the thin mattress and stared at the ceiling. Somewhere out there, Mafia was probably asleep. Or maybe she was awake, worrying. He had promised he would come back. He had broken that promise. Morning came slowly. Ji-woon was given breakfast that he did not eat. At 9 a.m., he was transported to the courthouse. The arraignment was quick. The prosecutor argued he was a flight risk. Park argued he had deep ties to the community. The judge set bail at 200 million won. Park paid it immediately. By noon, Ji-woon was free. He walked out of the courthouse into bright sunlight. Tae-sung was waiting with the car. "Boss, are you all right?" "I'm fine. What is the damage?" 8 of our guys are still in custody. The rest made bail. The product is in police evidence. We lost everything. And the Beck clan? Celebrating. They think they won. Ji-woon got in the car. "Take me to the hospital." "Boss, maybe you should go home. Rest." "The hospital." Tizona. They drove in silence. Ji-woon's mind was racing. The Beck clan had played this perfectly. They leaked his medical files. They set up the sting. Now his organization looked weak, and he looked incompetent. If he did not turn this around fast, there would be challenges to his leadership from inside his own crew. The hospital appeared. Ji-woon got out. His ribs ached. His head hurt. But he needed to see Mafia. The elevator to the 7th floor felt too slow. When the doors opened, the nurse at the desk looked surprised. "Mr. Lee, We were not expecting you. Is Dr. Lawson here? She is in surgery. Should be done in about an hour. He went to his room. Everything was exactly as he left it. He sat on the bed and waited. His phone buzzed constantly. Messages from his crew. Questions about what happened. What the plan was. He ignored them all. An hour later, the door opened. Mafia walked in. She was still in scrubs. The moment she saw him, relief flooded her face. You are alive. I promised I would come back. She crossed the room quickly. For a second, he thought she might hug him. Instead, she grabbed his wrist and checked his pulse. What happened? The Beck clan set us up. Called the police. We got arrested. Are you hurt? Bruised ribs. Nothing serious. She made him lie down, checked his ribs gently. He winced when she pressed on the left side. Possibly cracked. We should x-ray them. Later. Right now, I need to figure out how to save my organization. Right now, you need to heal. Mafia. She sat down, looked at him seriously. Did you black out? No. At all? Even during the arrest? I felt it coming. I used the techniques. They worked. Something shifted in her expression. Pride, maybe. You did it. Because of you. Because of you. I just gave you the tools. You used them. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Mafia said, What are you going to do about the Beck clan? I do not know yet. They have the advantage. My crew is shaken. Half of them are facing charges. The rest are wondering if I am still capable of leading. Are you? I have to be. That is not an answer. Ji-woon looked at her. Yes, I am capable. I made a mistake walking into their trap, but I can recover from this. How? I'm working on it. His phone rang. Tae-sung. Boss, we have a problem. Another one? The Beck clan just sent out a message to every crew in Seoul. They are sharing your medical files, saying you are mentally unstable, unfit to lead. Ji-woon closed his eyes. When? 20 minutes ago. It is everywhere. Call a meeting, everyone, tonight. Boss, are you sure? I have to face this head on, tonight. Set it up. He hung up. Mafia was watching him carefully. They released the files, he said. I heard. I have to address my organization tonight. Prove I am still fit to lead. Are you ready for that? I do not have a choice. Mafia stood, paced to the window. This is exactly what they want. You, stressed and defensive. That is when you are most likely to black out. So what do I do? She turned. You let me help. How? I come to the meeting. As your physician, I certify publicly that you are fit, that the files were taken out of context. That puts a target on you. I can handle it. Mafia, these are dangerous people. So are you, she pointed out, and I am handling you just fine. Despite everything, he almost smiled. You are insane. I prefer determined. She pulled out her phone. What time is the meeting? 8 p.m. I will be ready. The meeting was held in a private dining room in Gangnam, neutral territory. Ji-woon arrived at 7:45. Tae-sung was already there, along with Min-seo and the other senior members of the organization. About 40 people total. All of them looked tense. Boss, Min-seo said quietly. Some of the younger guys are talking, saying maybe it is time for new leadership. Let them talk. If this goes badly tonight, it will not. At exactly 8 p.m., Mafia arrived. She had changed into professional clothes. Dark pants, blazer, her white coat over everything. She looked every inch the confident doctor. Several of Ji-woon's men stared at her. Who is that? Someone whispered. My physician, Ji-woon said clearly. Dr. Lawson from Hanseong Hospital. She is here to address the concerns about my health. He stood at the head of the table. Everyone quieted. By now, you have all seen the files the Beck clan leaked. They show that I have been experiencing blackouts, that I was diagnosed with a psychological condition. They are using this information to paint me as weak, unstable, unfit to lead. Murmurs around the room. I am not going to lie to you. The files are real. I have been having blackouts. I went to the hospital to get help, and I got it. He gestured to Amivi. Dr. Lawson has been treating me for the past week. The condition is managed, and I have not had a blackout in 5 days. But you could have one at any time, someone called out. How do we know you will not black out during a critical moment? You do not, Ji-woon said honestly. The same way, I do not know if any of you will make a mistake during a critical moment. Leadership is not about being perfect. It is about being effective, and I have been effective for 10 years. Your father never had blackouts. My father also never got caught in a police sting, Ji-woon shot back. I made a mistake. I am owning it. But one mistake does not erase a decade of success. Amivi stepped forward. If I may, she said in clear Korean. As Mr. Lee's physician, I can confirm that his condition is manageable. Psychogenic syncope is not a degenerative disease. It is a stress response. With proper techniques, which I have taught him, the episodes can be controlled and eventually eliminated. You are saying he is cured? Someone asked. I am saying he is functional and improving daily. Medically speaking, there is no reason he cannot continue in his leadership role. Why should we trust you? The voice came from the back, hostile. You could be lying. I could be, Amivi agreed, but I am not. I am a doctor. My reputation is built on honesty. If I thought Mr. Lee was unfit, I would say so. I am telling you he is fit. The room was quiet. People were thinking, calculating. Then someone stood. One of the younger guys. I think we should put it to a vote. See if everyone here still supports the boss. Tae-sung moved toward him. Sit down, Jung-woo. No. The boss said we are a democracy, so let us vote. Ji-woon held up a hand. Fine, and let us vote. Everyone who thinks I should step down, raise your hand. Several hands went up, maybe 10 out of 40. Not a majority, but enough to be a problem. Everyone who supports me staying. Most of the remaining hands went up, but not all. Some people abstained. Looks like I keep my position, Ji-woon said. But clearly I have work to do to earn back full trust. I understand that. Give me 2 weeks. If I have not dealt with the Baek clan by then, we can revisit this conversation. 2 weeks, Jung-woo said. But if you black out even once, you step down. Agreed? Ji-woon's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Agreed. The meeting dissolved. People left in groups, talking quietly. Tae-sung came over. That could have gone worse. It could have gone better. You bought yourself time. Use it. Ji-woon turned to Amivi. Or thank you for backing me up. I told the truth, that is all. They left the restaurant together. Outside it was raining lightly. Amivi's car was parked down the street. You should go back to the hospital, she said. Get those ribs x-rayed properly. I will. Tomorrow. Tonight. Amivi. Do not make me pull rank, Mr. Lee. He smiled despite himself. Yes, doctor. They walked toward her car. Halfway there, 3 men stepped out of an alley. They were wearing expensive suits. Ji-woon recognized the one in front. Baek Min-jun. Lee Ji-woon, Baek said pleasantly. Fancy meeting you here. Ji-woon stepped slightly in front of Amivi. Baek, what do you want? Just wanted to congratulate you on the vote. 10 of your own men wanted you gone. That must sting. Is there a point to this? Baek's eyes shifted to Amivi. And this must be the famous Dr. Lawson, the woman willing to lie for you. I didn't lie, Amivi said calmly. No? So Lee really is fit to lead, even though he blacks out under stress? That is between me and my patient. Baek smiled. Actually, doctor, I wanted to talk to you. My associates and I have a proposition. Not interested. You have not heard it yet. We are prepared to offer you $5 million to testify that Lee Ji-woon is medically unfit for leadership. Simple testimony, 1 court appearance, $5 million. The number hung in the air. It was an insane amount of money. Mafia looked at Bayek like he was something she scraped off her shoe. No. That is a lot of money, Doctor. Think of what you could do with it. I'm thinking about what I would lose. My integrity, my license, my self-respect. The answer is no. You are making a mistake. I have made plenty of mistakes in my life, Mafia said. This is not one of them. Now get out of my way. Bayek did not move. You should know, Doctor. We do not take no for an answer easily. Is that a threat? It is friendly advice. Ji-woon stepped forward. Touch her, and I will burn your entire organization to the ground. Big words from a man who just barely survived a vote of confidence. Try me. The two men stared at each other. The tension was thick enough to cut. Finally, Beck stepped back. 2 weeks, Lee. You have 2 weeks to get your house in order. After that, we are coming for everything you have. He walked away, his men following. Ji-woon watched until they disappeared around a corner. We need to go, he said to Mafia. They got in her car. She drove back toward the hospital. Her hands were shaking slightly on the wheel. Are you all right? Ji-woon asked. That man just threatened me. I know. I'm sorry. Do not apologize. Just tell me honestly. Am I in danger? Possibly. The Bayek clan does not make empty threats. Great. Wonderful. I went to medical school for this. Despite the situation, Ji-woon almost laughed. For what it is worth, you handled that perfectly. I handled nothing. I just said no to $5 million and possibly got myself killed. You did the right thing. The right thing feels terrifying. She pulled into the hospital parking garage. They sat in the car for a moment, both processing what just happened. I'm going to assign security to you, Ji-woon said, just until this is over. I do not need security. Yes, you do. The Beck clan knows you are important to me now. They will use that. Mafia turned to look at him. Important to you? He met her eyes. Yes. The air in the car felt charged. All the history between them, all the feelings they had been pushing down, suddenly very present. Ji-woon, she said softly. His phone rang. He wanted to ignore it. But it was Tae-sung, probably important. What? Boss, we just got word. The Beck clan is moving to freeze your assets. They have lawyers filing paperwork claiming you are mentally incompetent. If it goes through, you lose access to everything. When? They are presenting their case to a judge tomorrow morning. Ji-woon swore. On what grounds? The medical files. They are arguing you are a danger to yourself and others. That your assets should be put in a conservatorship until you are deemed fit. That is insane. That is also legal. If they can convince a judge you are incompetent, they can freeze everything. Ji-woon's mind raced. We need to fight this. Park is already on it. But boss, it does not look good. The medical files are damning. And after tonight, they know some of your own crew doubts you. What do we need to win? A medical expert to testify you are competent, and evidence that the Beck clan is acting in bad faith. Ji-woon looked at Mafia. She was listening to the whole conversation. I can testify, she said immediately. No, they will tear you apart on the stand. Let them try. I have my records, my professional opinion. They cannot dispute that. Mafia, if you testify, you become a target. Permanently. I am already a target. They just offered me $5 million to lie. You think they will leave me alone if I do nothing? She had a point. All right, Ji-woon said. We fight. Tae-sung, tell Park we have a witness. Dr. Lawson will testify. Understood. The hearing is at 9 a.m. He hung up, looked at Mafia. Are you sure about this? No, but I am doing it anyway. They got out of the car, walked into the hospital together. At the elevator, Amivi paused. I need to prepare, get my files in order, figure out what I'm going to say. I can help. You need to rest. Those ribs are not going to heal themselves. Amivi. She turned, looked at him with those impossibly deep eyes. Yes? Thank you. For everything. For believing in me when I did not believe in myself. You are welcome. The elevator doors opened. She got in. Just before they closed, she said, Do not make me regret this, Ji-woon. I will not. The doors closed. He stood alone in the hallway, feeling the weight of everything. Tomorrow, in court, his entire future would be decided. If the Bike Clan won, he lost everything. His organization, his assets, his reputation. But he had Amivi on his side, and somehow, that felt like enough. That night, he barely slept. His mind kept running through scenarios, what the Beck clan's lawyers would argue, how Park would counter, what Amivi would say on the stand. At 6 a.m., he gave up on sleep, got dressed, went to find Amivi. She was in her office, surrounded by papers. She looked exhausted. Have you been here all night? He asked. I needed to be thorough. He sat down across from her. What did you find? Your medical records show clear improvement. The initial blackouts were frequent and severe, but over the past week, they have decreased significantly. That suggests successful treatment and management. Will that be enough? It should be. Psychogenic syncope is not a permanent condition. With proper treatment, most patients recover fully. You are on that trajectory. And if their lawyers argue I could relapse at any time, then I argue that any person could have a medical emergency at any time. That does not make them incompetent. She was good, prepared, but Ji-woon could see the worry in her eyes. You are scared, he said. Of course I am scared. I am about to testify in a case involving organized crime. I could lose my medical license if this goes wrong. It will not go wrong. You do not know that. I trust you. Those 3 words seemed to hit her hard. She looked away. You should not. Why not? Because I am terrified I am going to fail you. Ji-woon stood, walked around the desk, crouched next to her chair so they were eye level. You have spent the last week teaching me how to manage my fear. Maybe it is time you took your own advice. What are 5 things you can see? She looked at him. Then, slowly, she smiled. Your terrible haircut, the coffee stain on your shirt, the scar on your hand, my diplomas on the wall, that plant I keep forgetting to water. 4 things you can touch. She reached out, touched his shoulder. Your jacket, the desk, this pen, on my necklace. 3 things you can hear. The air conditioning, voices in the hallway, your breathing. Better? A little. Good. Because we are going to walk into that courtroom, and we are going to win. Together. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. Together. At 8:30 a.m., they arrived at the courthouse. Park was waiting outside with a briefcase and a grim expression. The Beck clan brought their best lawyers. This is going to be ugly. We are ready, Ji-woon said. They entered the courtroom. It was smaller than Ji-woon expected. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes, was already seated. The Beck clan's legal team sat on one side. 4 lawyers in expensive suits. Ji-woon, Amivi, and Park sat on the other side. The hearing began. The Beck clan's lead lawyer stood. He was smooth, polished, dangerous. Your Honor, we are here today because Mr. Lee Ji-woon poses a danger to himself and others. Medical records show he has been experiencing episodes of syncope, blackouts that occur without warning. During these episodes, he is completely unconscious and unresponsive. He showed the judge copies of the medical files. These files were obtained legally through a concerned associate who feared for Mr. Lee's well-being. They show a pattern of mental instability. We believe Mr. Lee is not capable of managing his substantial assets and business interests. We ask the court to appoint a conservator until such time as Mr. Lee can demonstrate he is fit. Park stood. Your Honor, this is nothing more than a business rival trying to use the legal system to seize my client's assets. Mr. Lee has been receiving excellent medical care, and his condition is managed. He is fully competent. Does your client have a medical professional who can testify to that? Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Amavi Lawson, head of hematology at Hanseong Hospital. Amavi was called to the stand. She swore in, sat down, looked calm and professional despite the sharks circling. Park started. Dr. Lawson, how long have you been treating Mr. Lee? 1 week. And what is your professional assessment of his condition? Mr. Lee was experiencing psychogenic syncope, episodes of fainting triggered by psychological stress. This is a manageable condition. With proper treatment, including stress reduction techniques and therapy, most patients show significant improvement. Has Mr. Lee shown improvement? Yes. When he first came to me, he was having episodes every few days. In the past 5 days, he has had 0 episodes. His condition is stabilizing. The Beck clan's lawyer stood. Objection, Your Honor. Dr. Lawson has a conflict of interest. What conflict? She and Mr. Lee have a personal relationship. Amavi's expression did not change. We knew each other in university, over 10 years ago. We had no contact until he became my patient last week. But you had a romantic relationship. That was a decade ago. It has no bearing on my medical assessment. Does it not? You expect this court to believe you are completely objective about a former lover? Park objected. The judge sustained it, but the damage was done. The seed of doubt was planted. The Beck clan's lawyer pressed on. Dr. Lawson, is it true that you cannot guarantee Mr. Lee will not have another episode? No medical professional can guarantee anything. So he could black out at any time. He could, just like anyone could have a heart attack or a stroke at any time. That does not make them incompetent. But Mr. Lee's condition is triggered by stress, and his line of work is extremely stressful. Which is why I taught him management techniques, which he has successfully employed. For 1 week. What about next week? Next month? Can you guarantee he will be fine? Amavi hesitated, just for a second. No, I cannot guarantee that. Thank you, doctor. No further questions. Amavi stepped down. Ji-woon could see the frustration on her face. She had done well. But the lawyer had scored points. The judge called a recess to review the evidence. They had 30 minutes. In the hallway, Park pulled them aside. This is not looking good. The judge is conservative. She might err on the side of caution. What does that mean? Ji-woon asked. It means she might appoint a temporary conservator. Freeze your assets for 90 days while you undergo further evaluation. That is unacceptable. I know. But unless we can prove the Beck clan is acting in bad faith, she might side with them. Ji-woon thought fast. They needed something. Anything to turn the tide. His phone buzzed. Tae-sung. Boss, I found something. What? Dr. Kang, the doctor who leaked your files. I convinced him to make a statement. He is willing to testify that the Beck clan bribed him for the files. Can you get him here in 20 minutes? He's already outside. Ji-woon almost laughed. Bring him in. They reconvened. Park called doctor, and Kang to the stand. The doctor looked miserable, but he told his story. The gambling debts, the bribe, the Beck clan's deliberate targeting of Ji-woon's medical information. So you are saying, Park clarified, that the Beck clan illegally obtained these medical files through bribery and coercion? Yes. And their entire case is built on information they obtained illegally? Yes. The Beck clan's lawyers tried to object, but the damage was done. The judge looked displeased. Is this true? She asked the Beck legal team. The lead lawyer stammered. Your Honor, How the information was obtained is irrelevant to its accuracy. It is absolutely relevant to whether this court should consider it. If the evidence was obtained through illegal means, it is inadmissible. She turned to Ji-woon. Mr. Lee, do you wish to press charges against Dr. Kang and the Baek organization for violation of medical privacy? Ji-woon looked at Amivi. She gave a tiny nod. Yes, Your Honor. The judge made notes. I am dismissing this petition. The evidence is inadmissible. Furthermore, I am referring this matter to the prosecutor's office for investigation into illegal acquisition of medical records. She looked at the Baek lawyers. Your clients should expect to hear from law enforcement shortly. The gavel came down. They had won. Outside the courthouse, Amivi let out a breath she seemed to have been holding for hours. We did it. You did it, Ji-woon corrected. Your testimony gave us credibility. Dr. Kang's testimony won the case. Only because you stood your ground. If you had taken their bribe, so none of this would have been possible. Park shook both their hands. Congratulations. I will file the criminal complaint against the Baek clan this afternoon. Between this and the evidence of the setup at the warehouse, we might actually be able to dismantle their operation. Good, Ji-woon said. Do it. Park left. Ji-woon and Amivi stood on the courthouse steps. The sun was bright. The city buzzed around them. What happens now? Amivi asked. Now, I go back to running my organization, and you go back to saving lives. Just like that? Just like that. She looked at him. Ji-woon, I have been thinking. About? About what comes next, for me. Something in her tone made him nervous. What do you mean? I got a job offer, last week. I have been sitting on it, trying to decide. What kind of offer? Doctors Without Borders. They want me to head a new surgical unit in West Africa, based in Togo. It is everything I have been working toward. His chest felt tight. When do they need an answer? I told them I would decide by the end of the month. Are you going to take it? I do not know. Part of me wants to. Go home. Do work that really matters. Your work here matters. Does it? I spend my days treating rich people who can afford the best care. In Togo, I could save people who have nothing. He understood. Of course he understood. But that did not make it hurt less. When would you leave? If I take it, in about 2 months. 2 months. Not enough time. But more than he had any right to ask for. You should take it, he heard himself say. What? The job. Yeah, you should take it. It is what you want. You do not know what I want. Yes, I do. You want to prove you are more than what anyone expected. You want to help people who actually need you. You want to go home. He looked at her. I will not be the person who holds you back. Not again. Her eyes filled with tears. Ji-woon. Take the job, Amivi. Save the world. You are good at it. A tear slipped down her cheek. I spent 10 years hating you for leaving. Now, you are telling me to go. Because I love you enough to let you choose. The words hung between them. He had not meant to say them. But they were true. Had always been true. Amivi wiped her eyes. You are an idiot. Probably. A beautiful, frustrating idiot. Definitely. She laughed through the tears. Then she kissed him. Quick and soft. Over before he could really process it. I will think about it, she said. The job. I will think about it. Then she walked away, leaving him standing on the courthouse steps, heart full and breaking at the same time. Over the next month, things stabilized. The prosecutor's office brought charges against the Baek clan. Their organization started to crumble under legal pressure. Ji-woon's crew rallied behind him. The vote of confidence turned into solid support. He did not have another blackout. Amivi continued treating him. Weekly appointments. Mostly she just checked his progress. Made sure he was still using the techniques. But sometimes they talked. About everything and nothing. about the past, about what might have been. She did not mention the job offer again. He did not ask. Then one day, she told him. They were in her office. Evening light slanted through the windows. She had just cleared him medically. No more need for regular appointments. "I'm taking the job," she said. He had known it was coming. Still, it hit like a punch. "When do you leave?" 3 weeks. "That soon?" "They need me. There is an outbreak. Cholera. Lots of people are dying." "Of course they need you. Everyone needs you." She smiled sadly. "Not everyone. I need you." "No, you do not. Not anymore. You are healthy. Stable. You do not need a doctor. I need you. Not as a doctor. As you. Ji-woon, we tried this once. It did not work. We were kids. We did not know what we were doing. And now? You are a crime boss. I am moving to another continent. How would this possibly work?" He did not have an answer for that. Amivi stood, walked around the desk, took his hands. "I care about you. I probably never stopped. But we live in different worlds. We want different things. I want you. You want the version of me that existed 10 years ago. That woman is gone. I want this version. The strong, brilliant, stubborn version who saves lives and does not take bribes and stands up to crime bosses." She laughed softly. "When you say it like that, it sounds almost romantic." "It is romantic. It is impossible. Nothing is impossible." She pulled her hands back. "I leave in 3 weeks. Let us not make this harder than it has to be." So he let her go. Because that was what you did when you loved someone. You let them choose. The 3 weeks passed too fast. Ji-woon threw himself into work, rebuilt his organization stronger than before. The Bak clan was dismantled, their territory absorbed. His position was secure, but none of it felt as good as it should have. The day before Amivi left, she came to his office. Not the hospital. His actual office in the building everyone knew was a front. "This is where you work," she said, looking around. "This is where I work. It is nicer than I expected." "Were you expecting blood on the walls?" "Maybe a little." They sat in his office, drank expensive whiskey, talked about nothing important, both of them avoiding the real conversation. Finally, Amivi said, "I'm going to miss you." "I'm going to miss you too." "Will you be all right? With the blackouts?" "I will be fine. You taught me well. If you ever need anything, medical advice, someone to talk to, you have my number." "I do." She set down her glass. I should go. Early flight tomorrow. I will drive you to the airport." "You do not have to. I want to." So the next morning, at 5 a.m., he picked her up, drove through the quiet streets of Seoul. The city was still sleeping. They did not talk much. There was too much to say and no words for any of it. At the airport, he helped her with her bags. They stood at the security checkpoint. Last chance to say something. Anything. "Be safe," he said. "You too. Save the world." "I will try." She hugged him, tight and fierce. He held on maybe a little too long. When she pulled back, her eyes were wet. "Goodbye, Ji-woon. Goodbye, Amivi." She walked through security, turned once to wave. Then she was gone. Ji-woon stood there until he could not see her anymore. Then he drove back to his office and got back to work, because that was what he did. He endured. 6 months passed. Ji-woon ran his organization. No more blackouts, no more weakness. The isotope was back, stable and shielded. But some nights, late when he was alone, he thought about her. Wondered what she was doing. If she was happy. If she ever thought about him. Then one day, a postcard arrived at his office. No return address. But he recognized the handwriting. On the front was a photo. A small clinic. White walls, red cross. Togolese flag flying above it. On the back, no message. Just her signature. He pinned it to the wall of his office, the only personal item in the room. His phone rang. Tai Zung with an update about a shipment. He answered. Got back to work. But sometimes, between meetings and negotiations and all the things that filled his days, he looked at that postcard, and he smiled. Because some isotopes decay, others just learn to contain the reaction. And Ji-woon had learned to contain his, to hold the weight of what he felt and keep moving forward. She had taught him that, among other things, he was still cold, still calculating, still dangerous. But now he was shielded, and that was enough. Before you go, I need you to do something for me. If this story gave you all the feels, if you were rooting for Ji-woon and Amivi, if you want to see more stories like this, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, do not just scroll past, click it. Because I have got more drama, more romance, more stories that will make your heart hurt in the best way. Subscribe now. You will not regret it.